Hey guys, this is Daniel.
And Matthew, and you're listening to the That Damn Brand podcast. And as you might have guessed by our non cringe intro, no one has commented saying that they want it back. So for now, it's being left in the annals of YouTube history.
Yeah, no one will ever find it for sure. But so we have a pretty big episode today because it's been a while since we did one. The first topic that we had was Fortnite champ Bugha. I don't know how to say his name. I don't care who he is, to be honest. But he's launching a line with PC. I'm sorry, PC peripheral line with Five Below, which coincidentally won't be below $5. So they're already lying right there, full of shit. But each piece is going to be $10. Based on this picture, it looks like so you can either get a headset or a headset stand for $10, whichever one you want.
Well, so the reason why I was most interested in this is because that headphone stand actually has USB ports on it. So that's kind of cool. I don't know how it's gonna work, but I
It's
saw
probably a HUD.
this.
It's probably just a HUD with like a big plastic thing to hang your.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got those headphones and I kind of just throw them on my desk and stuff. And so it's
Right.
it'd be cool to have a little stand. Plus, it has USB functionality. So, that's the one thing that I'm interested in. Everything else, the mechanical keyboard, the gaming mouse, the headset, I guess
Is
it's
the
like a
keyboard
desk lamp.
mechanical?
I, it looks like it would be. I mean,
Like it's
maybe it's
RGB,
just,
but that'd be mechanical.
well, maybe it's just a RGB regular keyboard. Who knows? But,
Yeah.
and then I don't understand, RGB speakers. What the hell even is that? I
Yeah, I
don't.
didn't know what that was, and that would fuck up with your headset. So
Right. And then I don't know what the thing on the left is supposed to be. I can't read the text and I don't
is
want
that a snake light? Like the old Game Boy days?
to I don't know. But the point is basically this guy, this Bugha or whatever, Bugha, however the hell you pronounce the name, he was the kid who recently or somewhat recently won the Fortnite World Championship, $3 million, whatever, and he's 13 or 14 or some shit. And so now he's got this deal with Five Below. And just as an aside, I personally like Five Below. And yes, not every items are five or below. Most of them are, but sometimes they carry shit that's a little bit more awesome, and so it costs 10 or less. And so in this case, these are going to be 10. But yeah, so I shop at Five Below pretty frequently. So I actually went there a couple of days ago after I had saw this, and I'm like, I don't know if it's already coming out, but I was on the hunt for this, so I could check out and see if I could get that microphone or the headset stand. And no, it's not available yet, but um, I don't know if you guys would be interested in seeing a review of that. Let us know. Maybe we'll spend some cash and see how good it is. I'm pretty sure the quality is not going to be fantastic, but for entry level kind of people, if you kind of want to take a dip into PC gaming, you don't really want to spend a lot of money on peripherals. I think it's provided they don't break down after 5 minutes. I think it might be a cool little starter thing. I mean, you know.
I have to agree. My idea behind, even though I was giving shit about it being Five Below, I just think that's such an odd ass place to have this stuff. Um, it's great for entry level for people who don't have money to spend $100 on a keyboard. They can get one for $10. I was actually pretty impressed. So obviously I haven't we haven't found one, so we haven't been able to use it. But I was impressed by the mouse, whatever, having I think 6 or 7 buttons on it. That's pretty cool for a $10 mouse. And hopefully the software doesn't suck, because if the software sucks, then those buttons are pretty damn useless.
Right.
um I you know it's not gonna be the greatest shit ever, but for $10 and for kids who just want to be like Bugha, whatever the fuck his name is, it's a great, it's honestly cool just to have entry level stuff like that. What I do find funny is this kid's the best. Okay, not the best, because no one's the best at Fortnite. It's a random ass game, but this kid won the world championship for Fortnite, and the best fucking place you can get is Five Below.
I mean, he's 13 or 14, so I mean, the fact that he got a deal to begin with is kind of
Right?
impressive,
I
But
don't. Yeah, no, it's cool that he got a deal, and he's making money head over heels. So he's making more money than I am. But Five Below, really?
Okay, so if you're like name some other places that you would like to have seen this merchandise, then if we're gonna go that route.
Micro Center, Micro Center's not everywhere, so Micro Center wouldn't be smart. Um, Newegg, dude, or like with an actual hardware like get with Razer, Logitech. I don't
Yeah,
like, any like a peripheral people. Like no one's gonna be like, I can't wait for the Five Below fucking keyboard.
I mean, we should actually see when this stuff launches and like see if there's gonna be like a line waiting or
Yeah,
something
right.
crazy. Like,
Fucking
yeah,
iPhone launch.
gotta get the Bugha stuff, gotta get the Bugha stuff. Ah, I need it. Yeah, that'd be interesting. But like, so if it was at Walmart, you'd probably be giving it the same critique, right? Like, oh, I can't believe it's with Walmart. Like,
Less so though, because Walmart is at least like I personally hate Walmart. So I know a lot of people love it. I hate Walmart, but it's still more of a common place than fucking Five Below.
like hell, we didn't have Five Below here, in San Antonio until like I don't know 4 or 5 years ago, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty recent because I was already less than 20 by the time that happened.
Yeah, and
So
but it was in North Carolina when I was there, so it was kind of was like spreading out. But yeah, I agree. Obviously, Walmart's everywhere, so But I don't know what if it was like a Target, because it's kind of like comparison between Walmart and Target. Target's like a step above in terms of like
I
quality.
agree. I like Target. I don't like
Yeah,
Walmart.
yeah,
So I still think it's like one of those places where I guess your average parent, because I'm thinking this is more for kids, because if you have a job or you're most likely and you're really really into gaming, you're most likely to spend more money on your peripherals. I think it's more for the kids. Um, if you're at Target, and you randomly see the Bugha mouse, they'll buy it for their kid, or the kid will be like, "Hey, look at this," and they'll be like, "Oh, it's only $10. All right, that's cool. That's your toy for this adventure out."
yeah, yeah. Well, and like, I don't know if you said that you've ever been in Five Below or if you've ever shopped in Five Below, but
I've been to one. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's mostly geared towards like probably the tweens and under crowd, like essentially. But they sell like candy, like they have Pocky
The
there.
candy is what I thought was cool.
Yeah. They got like a good selection of candy and like import Japanese candy and different things. And that's where I got actually. I'm gonna have to show Daniel later, but I sent him a picture. But anyway, I found the Anna Amazon exclusive pop
That's
actually
pretty
at
awesome.
Five Below.
Yeah.
So I was like, $5, hell yeah! Plus it's Amazon exclusive, and it's not getting it off of Amazon. Fuck yeah!
I'm just saying, man, if Pokemon could get sponsored by shit like I forgot what she was in a commercial with
Oh,
Shroud.
I think it was HyperX
Yeah, Hyper with and Joel Embiid.
and Post Malone randomly.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like, and she's not even like gaming it. Like I don't even know if she plays games like outside of like one or two here and there.
no,
Isn't
she
she
does.
just like just chatting all the time?
No, she plays games.
Okay. Well, this dude's better than her. So he could have gotten something like actually, precision. What am I gonna say? If he's good, he needs the best mouse. He needs the best whatever. He could have totally gotten a deal with like Razer pushing their highest end mouse because like, hey, I'm the fucking champion, and this is the shit I use. I don't use $10 Five Below shit. Like.
I got you. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I'm definitely gonna be on the lookout for the headphone stand. But everything else, if you want to see us do a review on it or something, let us know in the comments, and we'll consider it if we see it.
I guess my critique is more for the kid than the actual like hardware. I think that it's great to have entry level hardware so people can get into it. But dude, man, you got to know your value.
Yeah, as to the Fortnite champ, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Lowballed himself.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So the next thing is Microsoft's Flight Sim apparently has, well, you know more about this than me, but it has like potential VR code in the Xbox series or Xbox version of it.
Yes. So like data miners found code or whatever like within the flight simulator code by doing their thing that shows that they're at least open to the possibility of having VR for the Series X and S. And I wanted to get your take on that actually, because as we've discussed many times, we're big proponents of VR, and it's kind of like Microsoft's the only one who doesn't really have a headset. I mean, PlayStation has. I mean, Switch does not have a headset. That would be crazy if VR on the Switch. But
Yeah,
anyway, but like out of the big two, I
dude,
guess
it's
Microsoft
like
doesn't have it.
VR on the Switch would be just like cardboard VR, where you put the Switch up to your face.
That'd be awesome.
Well, okay, so my take on it is like I'm not saying it's bullshit that the code wasn't found. I'm pretty sure it was found. I think it was just leftover code. I don't think Microsoft has any intention to go VR. Um, PlayStation, as we discussed beforehand, is more into it. I believe Microsoft has even said they're not really interested in VR for this next generation, like themselves. And while the leaks for RDNA 2 were saying that part of Sony's deal with, well, I don't know if you know how the RDNA 2, for you guys don't know, is the new AMD graphics cards that we're going to talk about later, but they're coming out in November. The deal they had with Microsoft and Sony is that they work on they take the base RDNA 2, and then both companies work on their own custom versions of it with AMD to customize it the way they want to. And AMD gets to keep the intellectual properties and use it in their own GPUs and such. Well, this is relevant because one of Sony's requests and what they wanted to go for was to make their GPU better at VR. And Xbox chose not to do that. So based on their statements, based how they were not even making their hardware do that, I don't buy it. And that's actually one of the reasons why I'm kind of excited to see what PlayStation is going to bring to the VR front. But who knows? Maybe that, like I said, so AMD gets to keep the intellectual property. So I'm also thinking maybe the new GPUs, I know this is off subject, but the new GPUs may be better at VR than the Nvidia ones, but we'll see. But yeah, back to this, I don't buy it.
Well, I was actually discussing this with my girlfriend, and it's like I was trying to get the point across that, as you and I have stated a few times as well, Microsoft is banking on Xbox as a platform, not just a console. Like, that's why they're doing the whole play anywhere thing, crossplay between PC and Xbox, console and computers and whatnot. And so my thinking is like they might release a game for Xbox that has VR, but it's like, oh hey, if you want VR, you can play on the PC, but if you want the regular experience, just play on the Xbox.
I think,
Because you'd only have to buy it once, and you'd be able to get both experiences.
yeah, I would agree with that. Like with Flight Sim is already, it's gonna have VR on PC. I don't see it coming to PlayStation. I mean, having an Xbox. I haven't heard anything about a headset. And as I said, I believe they actually came out and said they're not interested in pursuing VR for the. So,
So
if they told me that, then there's no reason not to believe them.
True, but so do you think that it's like a missed opportunity for them then? Because as we said before too, Sony has a huge investment towards VR, and it seems like they kind of cornered the market almost in terms of quality, at least for the games that they release. So do you think Xbox is missing out by not going after that, or do you think maybe they would have like too many hands in the cookie jar or whatever, like too many different things going on if they tried to also focus on VR?
They just spent so much money on ZeniMax, how we discussed earlier. If you guys haven't listened to that, the amount of money they spent on ZeniMax was more than what Disney spent to buy Star Wars and Marvel. So like it's not like they don't have a shortage of money that they could just throw at this. That's what they do. They have a problem, they throw money at it. If they wanted to, they could make this happen. And I don't think there's a such thing for a company like that to have too much hands in the cookie jar. If they're like kind of segregating it out to different people or like distributing the workload. So I don't think them incorporating VR into their stuff would be too big of a task for them. I just don't think there's an interest for them. And I do believe it's kind of a missed opportunity, but at the same time, I don't really see Sony doing much with it either, or even on PC. Like, I don't see much of it. I know we love it, but like, there's really not that big of appeal yet.
Right.
So
yeah, I think maybe too that Microsoft might have be a little more hesitant for that sort of thing because of what happened with the Kinect. They banked on the Connect pretty hard. I think when it launched, they were trying to push like, oh, you could do all this stuff with your friends and all this, just the different capabilities of it, basically. And like, I don't know anyone that still has a fucking Connect. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not a thing anymore.
Well, the problem with the Connect was when it first came out, it was forced on you, and they forced you to buy it. Like so, like the first ones were like what, $500, the consoles, and it came with the Connect, and then eventually they patched in so you can have a Connectless Xbox for $400. And no one wanted that shit. No one wanted to jump around in front of their TV. No one wanted a camera constantly looking at you. You would think Sony would have learned that with their fucking mic thing, but I guess not. Like, so I think if you allowed people to buy it, like, buy into it, it's different than forcing it on someone the way they did with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's maybe what's giving them the most pause in terms of VR. Like that, their previous, I would call it a failure. Their previous failure with the Kinect, and the fact that, like we said, there's not a huge install base for VR or like rabid fan base as there is for just like the regular consoles and that sort of thing. And that's yes, I firmly believe that given enough time, VR is going to explode. It just needs to reach a premium price point that people can afford, and there needs to be like, I don't know, more consciousness of like your surroundings, I guess, because obviously people aren't gonna be playing VR when they're like walking down the street. They'll walk into traffic and shit. I say that, but then Pokemon Go, people are walking off cliffs and shit. So who knows? And that's just like a phone. It's not covering their entire face. So
well, the new headsets, like the S and I think the Quest do too, have pass-through cameras, which is actually pretty cool. I know you have a regular Rift, and the regular Rift doesn't have that. So when I transitioned, that was one of the coolest features that I thought. So you know how you set up your play zone in the Rift? When you get close to your play zone, your camera actually switches to, and it's kind of like you're looking
through
as
the
if you're
screen.
through your headset, yeah.
So you can, like, if I'm about to punch my computer, it's like, oh shit, you're about to punch your computer.
Yeah, it shows like you can see your computer because of, yeah. I
Gotcha.
think that's one of the coolest features about that. So, in future versions, I don't think that would be much of an issue. I really think it's a price point thing. And, I don't think hardware is that big of a deal either, because we were playing on 1060s back in the day. And, things have gotten way more powerful than that. So, the hardware thing, it being demanding on your hardware, is kind of gone away. I think it's just the introductory, the cheapest headset right now is what, your Rift or your the Quest 2.
Well, I thought it was the Go or whatever. It's like lacking in functionality.
I don't think the
Eh,
Go is being sold anymore. I think it's only the Quest.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah. So like $200 to $300 for.
It's three hundred
Um,
dollars, but then it requires a $80 cable to plug in your. So it's effectively $400.
Yikes!
So I think if it got down to maybe like 250, like
Without
for
an extra peripheral cable,
yeah,
or
exactly.
including it, yeah,
Yeah, like total price 250,
yeah.
it would be more appeal. But that's honestly, that's a PlayStation.
True stuff. All right, so we're gonna do one more thing for me, and then we'll move over to your stuff, most of your stuff.
Okay.
All right. So the other thing that I had wanted to talk about was Halo Infinite got delayed, as we've discussed multiple times, until next year. And actually, I just saw on Twitter that they lost another, I think it was director or something like that.
I
Which
didn't see that.
is,
I don't
yeah,
know about that.
that's it's not good news. But that's not particularly what I wanted to mention. What I wanted to mention was they, as games are known to do, like Gears 4, I think Gears 5 did it, like all the CODs do it, etc. Like they usually team up with the brand that they feel meshes well with them in terms of like, so COD would be like Monster Energy or whatever, what have you, like snacks, Doritos, and Halo and what have you. Well, Halo Infinite had teamed up with some snack food companies and stuff like that to offer special skins for Halo Infinite. But not only that, they released a new line of toys for Halo, and it's the same thing. It includes a little picture icon, whatever, and it says like unlocks content for Halo Infinite. So if you buy the toys, you get in-game goodies. You buy snacks, you get in-game goodies, and all that good stuff. So yeah, it seems a little weird because they're for Halo Infinite, they're not doing to where like let's say you unlock a helmet or you unlock a different armor customization or whatever like part. It's you unlock it's almost equivalent to like the shaders in Destiny.
You like color?
So yeah, I think they said there's like 7 layers or something, and I guess I don't know if it's gonna be you have to go to one, like let's say Taco Bell to get one thing, and you have to go to Walmart to buy the toy to get the other thing. I'm not sure how that's gonna work, or if it's like if you can buy the toy, you get 7 layers for like one set. But
Yeah.
each set or whatever is gonna have 7 different layers that you can like customize. So if Microsoft really wanted to, they could be huge fucking dicks and have it like that, where you had to go to like all these different places to complete one whole set. And there'd be collectors out there that would do it.
Well, I think
But
they would do that because we have precedents that with Gears. You remember how Gears had different pre-order characters depending on where you pre-order the game from?
did you ever get Mechanic Bear?
I got the when they re-released it around.
Oh, okay.
You remember that or no?
Yeah.
So he was Mechanic Bear. He was just a different color. Like I think the pre-order one was he's wearing brown, and then the one that you get through the season pass he's wearing blue. Which is fine because I want the blue one anyway.
Yeah, something like that. But I remember what I did was I pre-ordered it at GameStop and Best Buy, and I got the midnight release at GameStop, and then I went the next day, picked up my Best Buy one, got the code, and then went around and returned the one to Best Buy. Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was funny because all this. I guess they weren't anticipating Halo Infinite getting pushed back because when this happens, they're anticipating release. That's when they're doing all this push for like XP and armor codes and unlocks and all this shit. It's because they think the game's about to release, and so now it's like all this shit's out in the wild, or not, maybe not all of it, but some of this shit's out in the wild, and it's like the game's not even out yet.
I think that's the funniest thing about the whole promotion, that the fact that the game got pushed back with the promotions didn't, and then. On top of that, people don't even know if they're going to be able to get an Xbox or a PlayStation. So you're just holding on. Like I guess you put in in Microsoft, and you can just like redeem them now and whenever you get the game, whatever. But that's just so fucking crazy. You'll eventually get to have this color. You don't even know when the game's fucking coming out at this point.
You know what? I just realized it would suck if like the codes were expirable or whatever. Like they had an expiration date. Like it must redeem by August of next year, and then the game gets delayed till after August or something. Like fuck. Yeah, that'd be some shit. But I just thought that was worth mentioning.
I think it's just funny, like you said, that the promotions are still going on. It's like I don't even know when the game fucking coming out. How am I gonna get excited for this shit?
Right.
And all the footage they're showing of I've seen some commercials for it on Twitch. It's all just footage from their showcase that everyone was making fun of because they got nothing else to show.
God damn it.
It's fucking dumb. Okay. So I was going to talk about AMD linked benchmarks, but today that was the conference, so we're going to skip over that because that will be at the end. What we will talk about, I'll lump that together over there. So next one, Gears 5 is getting a new game plus where Batista takes the place as Marcus. I finally saw a picture of that after I was talking about it, and I understand what they did now. They are getting a new game mode that's harder than insane, and I don't even know if I want to fucking play that. And they are getting a new story DLC called Hype Busters. Apparently, it's based off the comic book of the same name, Hype Busters. We don't know if it's free yet or not. I think it's cool that they're supporting the game still. I think that is probably because the new console's coming out, and they're doing all the visual upgrades to it. That
right.
To make it sound like we have a Gears 5 on Xbox Series, whatever.
Yeah.
So, I didn't know the background behind the Batista thing until Matt told me, and at first I thought it was stupid. So, for people who don't know, they might think it's stupid too. but apparently Batista's trying to play Marcus in the Gears movie. So to, I guess, campaign for him in a sense, they are having the character Batista take the place of Marcus throughout the whole story mode. So you can see how a Batista would play Marcus. And that's pretty interesting because they would probably have to go back and re-record or record all the lines.
I mean, there's probably a lot of lines they would have to record. Like instead of saying Marcus, they would be like Batista, he's over here. Or like,
No, I think he is Marcus. I think that's the thing. Like like the picture I saw, he had the do rag.
Oh, well
so,
then.
So I think it's like I think it's like an impromptu. Oh shit! What am I trying? It's an audition, dude.
Yeah. Oh, so I mean, they probably got Batista to record a shitload of lines
Yeah.
then. But if the characters aren't calling him Batista, then I don't really think there's going to be that much differentiation. It'll just be weird, having Batista call JD's son or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I think that's what it's going to be. And maybe it's just me, but I think they would re-record Batista the lines with Batista, but the lines would be the same because he's supposed to be playing Marcus.
Right.
So he's still going to act like JD's his son and all that stuff. But getting now hearing that, I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, he's been wanting to play Marcus in the Gears movie for like a long time. Like he's on Twitter like every major like wrestling celebrity or just celebrity in general, whatever. The guy has a bunch of followers and whatnot. And so like he's been campaigning to play Marcus for like a long time on Twitter. And he had that company that built like custom Gears armor. He had that
Nightmare armor.
Yeah, he had them make him like his own Gears armor.
Oh my god,
and, like,
I wanted one of those.
Yeah, and so like he's been really pushing hard for this. And so when he came to Gears 5 like last year, I might have been around this time. I know it was a little bit after launch, like kind of post launch. He came as like a unlock. I forgot what the hell you had to do exactly. Watch their Twitch stream or do some kind of something. But anyway, when he first came to the game, I was like, oh, that's cool because I know Batista's a big fan of Gears, and he's trying to play as Marcus. So like putting him in the game, like that's kind of cool. He's like its own cog, and yeah, I can get behind that. And then this, I was like, I mean, it's still cool because it's like that's what he's been wanting to do. Like he wants to play Marcus in the movie, but I don't know. Like, do you think maybe like it is an addition probably, but do you also think maybe like they know something we don't? Like maybe the Gears movie isn't gonna happen, and his dreams of playing Marcus aren't gonna happen, so they decided like, well, we'll do it for you in this game instead.
I wouldn't go that deep into it. I think it's probably maybe just getting him to play Marcus since he always wanted to play Marcus, but I wouldn't think that has anything to do with the movie. Like maybe the movie will see it and be like, oh, okay, he plays a good Marcus and we'll pick him up. I don't think it's I wouldn't put it past than just they're putting him as Marcus because he's always wanted to play Marcus.
Yeah, they're like, fuck it. Like you said, they're trying to hype the new consoles and they need something.
Yeah.
Like, well, let's do this and let's add a new difficulty mode. And so like that, oh my god, man, we played through Gears 5 on Insane over Twitch over the course of like 2 months, I think, and it was absolutely brutal. We like went in on Insane blind and it took us fucking forever. It was so fucking hard. And when we finally beat it, we got that achievement, and it was like 0.89% of gamers have this achievement. And I'm like, fuck yeah, that's awesome, because, we did some really hard shit.
Yeah.
And they're going to release a fucking mode that's harder than that. Like, I don't know if I want to break any of my controllers or computer peripherals in anger. Like,
I'm really not interested in that, personally. But I guess someone is. I guess no one really would be, because I think it was 0.05.
It was a small ass number.
Yeah. So if only 0.05 people did that, no one wants to do this. That's all maybe like 0.01%. Not enough people worth the time it takes to code it.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't imagine it would be that hard to code. It's like increase enemies by 6,000% and reduce health by 50%. And if it's, you just go down, you're dead. Well, that's already in the game. So
yeah,
whatever. Like, I don't imagine it'd be too much more difficult, but I don't know. That's just crazy. That's really crazy to me. I kind of want to see someone else try it. This is an instance where I would watch someone else play Gears. I don't generally do that, but I would watch somebody else just to see how fucking brutal it is.
I am looking forward to the new DLC, whether it's purchased or not. Like if it's a reasonable price, if you have to purchase it, I'll still be interested.
I have to go back and reinstall it. And this time I have a decent graphics card. It's not gonna give me some boot up message about my 1070 Ti not being good enough.
Oh, yeah, we were having issues with that, and I don't think it's because it's not good enough. It's because the architecture was wonky. That was like the
Well,
one card that it like did not like.
yeah. So this time it'll be a smoother experience as far as graphically. Anyway.
Yeah. So I guess we can stay on the Xbox issue or Xbox topics. Phil Spencer hints at potentially Xbox releasing a streaming stick.
I did
I
see that.
I think that's right in line with their vision of the platform. You know, they have Xbox XCloud. Why not expand XCloud to the TV, like where you can just plug it in and run with it? It makes perfect sense. Just one more place that you can play Xbox from the cloud, and that's what they're trying to do.
So I mean, I guess
can see
like
it happening.
they'd have to include something in the architecture that would allow support for the controllers, right? Because I mean, I'm not sure. You have XCloud. I'm not sure if you've actually used it or whatever. Like, well, you were
I
in the
use the
beta or
beta.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't have XCloud, but I was in the beta.
yeah. So did you try it? Like, do you know how
Yeah.
it works? So how
What do
does
you
it work
mean?
with the
Yeah.
controller? Like,
I Bluetooth to my phone.
okay, so how would it work on TVs that like don't have Bluetooth capabilities? You know, like because
Well,
there are
no, it's
LCD
the streaming
TVs.
stick. So the streaming stick would either have the RF the way our stick into our computers do, where you can just sync it, or Bluetooth.
Okay, so that's what I was saying. Yeah, it would have the
Yeah.
architecture inside the stick to support the controllers because, most of these nowadays TVs probably do have Blu-ray just fucking built in because that's how
But
technology's rolling. But back in the
dude,
day, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
like the stick itself would take care of all that. It'll just plug in and show this picture. And I think it's smart for them to do. XCloud's $15 a month, like, and you get all those games. It's no brainer in my opinion, for them at least. All right. So next, I guess let's talk. You can say your subscriber thing. I'm going to keep the other stuff for the end. I'm going to just clump that all together.
Oh, I mean, like I said, it wasn't really anything to talk about, but I'll just say that our Phasmophobia video is doing really well. It's over at 10,000 views when I checked earlier today, and we've jumped up subscribers from like 120-ish to over 150. So thank you guys for checking us out, subscribing. We really appreciate it. We're hoping to grow even more in the upcoming year. I have lots of ideas for content. I know Daniel and I need to discuss some things about that as well, but we're definitely hoping to keep the momentum rolling. So
Appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe. So Cyberpunk was delayed again, which all right, that's cool. It's just kind of expected at this point.
I predicted that in like one of the previous episodes when we were talking about it. I was like, yeah, if it doesn't get delayed again, I said it as like an offhanded joke because it's been delayed so fucking much, and then bam, this shit happened. And I'm like, well.
Yeah, I really don't consider this a true delay, honestly. Like, I know it is like technically delayed because it is, but 3 weeks, that's like nothing. It's just them trying to get that to work on Stadia or some shit, some bullshit ass console that like it's gonna be irrelevant in 2 weeks.
Did you hear about the some of the devs getting death threats
I
because of
did
it?
want to bring I did want to talk about that, yes.
Okay.
I thought so. I heard about that today, and it was actually from The Verge, which I'm not too fond of them, but yeah, I think the after following, like, I don't know if you guys know, I really have been following the Nvidia launch, and after seeing people's reactions there, and then seeing people's reactions to this, I'm just gonna say, man, a lot of gamers are fucking shitty people. Like, this is some of the most entitled people I've ever seen. Like, or like the comments are just like, for this, CD Projekt doesn't
CD
owe
Project Red. Yeah.
yeah, CD Projekt Red doesn't owe you shit. They could cancel the game today, and like they don't owe you shit. It doesn't matter you've been waiting for this game for fucking 7 years. and that's pretty much just like I think people in general like are game. I'm not going to say in the gaming community there is a lot of entitlement. You can see that just from all the fanboys who always get pissed off at shit. People need to realize that none of these companies owe them anything, especially the developers. Like they're working their ass off. Like they're getting CD Projekt Red. They're getting crunched to fuck right now. And I don't know. I just it's so crazy to me.
It is. It really is. Like, especially because CD Projekt Red said there wouldn't be any crunch, and they're doing it anyway. But the fact that people would go out of their way to like send death threats to people who are attempting to create a form of media for you to enjoy, and just the fact that you have to wait 3 fucking weeks, it's not like it was delayed another 6 years or something. You know what I mean? Like 3 fucking weeks is nothing, dude. Like just fucking quarantine yourself and do something else. And next thing you know, the fucking game will be out and it'll be all good.
Yeah, but I think my biggest point is they don't owe you anything. They can fucking cancel this game today, throw it in the fucking desert like ET, and like they don't owe you shit. Like
Yeah. Yeah, no, I understand. Fucking gamers are entitled, and a lot of them are toxic pieces of shit, and it's sad that that's the state of games these days.
Yeah, it's maybe it's just consumerism in general. Because I like those Nvidia people that I was seeing were getting pissed off, like super, super pissed off. I'm like, guys, it's a fucking graphics card. It's not like it's a luxury item. And you were getting fine without it until you learned about the 3080s, so it's crazy how people condition themselves. Anywho.
Yeah.
So Assassin's Creed live action series on Netflix. I believe Ubisoft is doing more stuff with Netflix, aren't they? Outside of this,
The Resident Evil series. Well, that's Capcom, but yeah, like it's just like Netflix is grabbing all these gaming franchises and trying to do stuff. And the reaction that I saw like on Twitter to this news about the Assassin's Creed series was people were like, "Why?" Because the movie that they attempted to make, I think in like 2006 or maybe
I remember that.
whatever fucking year it came out, like it was pretty poorly received because it was kind of just like a loosely based adaptation. And I mean, I guess I'd have to go back and watch it, but I was a really big fan of the first fucking Assassin's Creed game. I was a big, like an alright fan of the second game. Brotherhood was pretty good, and then when I got to 3, like that's pretty much where it just stopped. Like I was just like, nah. Even though I heard Black Flag was good, and one of the other ones was decent, but it's just I don't know. At this point, I honestly feel like it might be too little, too late for some kind of series, like maybe at the height of its popularity, but I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. The series kind of has lost steam over the last few years. It's still one of their best-selling series, but I I don't think it's as like the craze is there that it once was. Where like I kind of like people will buy the game to play it, but I don't think they're like avid followers of everything Assassin's Creed. That's what I should say. Um, and as you were bringing up the Assassin's Creed movie, you remember they also did the Prince of Persia movie, and that was pretty bad. So Ubisoft itself doesn't have a very good track record of game,
Non-game related content.
yeah, non-games. Like, yeah, I guess other media. I don't care one way or another. I could have lived without it, but I probably won't watch it because I don't have Netflix. But this definitely isn't going to make me go get it.
I mean, I have Netflix. If I'm super bored, I might check it out. It kind of depends because some gaming forms of media are really good. Like the Castlevania anime that's on Netflix is fucking outstanding. Like I haven't even finished it because I didn't want to binge it. Like I binged the first season, and then when the season 2 came out, I was like, all right, I'm gonna take this shit slow because it's so damn good. I didn't want it to be over already. So like I need to go back and continue watching it. Like that's really good. And so it's not in this article, but it also said not only was it a live action, but they were also going to do an animated one, and also an anime. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously the difference is the animation style, like Eastern versus Western, but like I don't understand why they're doing both. Like Maybe one of them's going to be a little more cartoony, and the other one's going to be more like serious, kind of anime, like
The
dark.
anime I could get on board, honestly, because do you remember when Marvel tried doing anime or did anime?
Like, give me an example.
They had an Iron Man anime and they had a Wolverine anime where Wolverine was lived in the times of samurais.
I don't think I've seen it, but I might have come across it like while scrolling somewhere, but I don't.
I
Was it
forgot where
good?
it was, but they were actually pretty good. Yeah, I liked them, and I'm not a big anime fan for you guys who are out there. So I think if anyone would do a good job, it would be the anime people because they know what they're doing and they'll kind of like they already know how to write stories, you know. So I think I'd be more excited about the anime than I would the live action.
Yeah, out of all of them, that's probably my go-to as well.
Well, saying on Ubisoft, I I'm really I should have wrote that down, but there was a report that came out that apparently even the 3090, which is the strongest gaming graphics card out this second, um, can't run Watch Dogs in 4K.
Really?
At being, I'm not can't run it. I'm sorry, but can't maintain 60 frames a second. It's normally at 55 through 45. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's playable, but it's not like hitting that magic 60 frames in 4K, and that's without ray tracing on.
So
So
with ray chain is like half of that.
I don't know what it's going to be, but I just thought that was interesting that the game, I'm not going to say it looks that good. I think it looks all right, but it's at least big enough that the best gaming graphics card out there right now can't run at 4K 60 frames, which actually is surprising to me considering Watch Dogs is kind of like, even I know it's just coming out right now, but it's kind of a dated title because it's been delayed for so long. So it's not a next gen game. It's a current gen, but good for it if it's actually like optimized and that demanding and not just shittily coded.
Right. That was
Yeah.
going to be my follow up. There was whether or not it was an issue with the coding or if it was just like the new crisis. You know what I mean? Like, can you run
Yeah.
Watch Dogs Legion in 4K at 60 FPS or not?
I guess if you're really interested, there'll be Watch Dogs benchmarks out there. I'm pretty sure tomorrow. Pretty much. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm pretty sure they're already out because the game comes out tomorrow, and I doubt this is going out tonight.
Right.
Okay. I just thought that was really interesting news. So my last topic that I have is actually about gaming graphics cards. I was going to talk about some leaks earlier of reports of AMD's new GPUs, but today was the showcase, so we can just talk about them. Talk about that instead. They showed off three cards: the 6900 XT, the 6800 XT, and the 6800. So the 6900 XT is going against the 3900X. I'm sorry, the 3090,
3090.
the 3090. So based on the benchmarks that AMD showed, so these are AMD benchmarks, they're not official. So take it with a grain, take it that it's going to be somewhere around there, but it may not be that. It was trading blows back and forth. Like they showed like 5 different games. I think it's like Division, uh, Battlefield 5. I think Tomb Raider was in there. So it was all like decent games. And 5 Nvidia won, 5 AMD won. AMD was using like their rage mode, which is like a 1 button overclock, which I think that's a really cool idea that they even have that. And a new thing called it's like system shared storage. So they really didn't reveal how that works. And I actually watched a Jay2 video a while ago, and Jay's didn't even know how it worked. So it's not information that they've really released yet. So I'm glad I just wasn't dumb and missed something.
Nice.
But what it sounds like is if you have an AMD 5000 CPU and a 6000 GPU, it actually works together to boost up your games, or like, you know, it's some weird. They made them where that it works as one system, kind of like how the consoles are doing, which the consoles are doing that. So I think that's really cool tech. That's the, but point being, they're trading blows back and forth. If you don't know, the 3090 costs $1,500. This card costs 1,000. I think that's pretty awesome. It has I think it has 16 gigs of RAM. I see it has 16 or 18. I think it's 16 though. So it has less RAM, but if you're just using for gaming, you really don't need 24 gigs. Even if it slightly loses, which I'm guessing is going to be like what really happens if you don't have the pairing that they give you, it's still fucking $500 less. So I really think Nvidia is going to have to address that card in the future. Because luckily for Nvidia, AMD is not releasing that card until December, so they have another month to be the only person in town with a really, really high-end card. But I think come next year, they're probably going to have to address the price point of that, or maybe make a card with less RAM so that they don't spend as much on RAM and keep their margins up, because that's what Nvidia cares about, their margins. And anywho, so the next two ones are the 6800 XT and the 6800. They showed that the 6800 was actually beating the 3080 in more games than not. Again, they picked the games, their benchmarks, but that's still very promising. It was only $50 less, so it's not that big of a difference, in my opinion. That may be, you know, in someone else's opinion, they'd be like, hey, $50, you know.
Right, that's like shipping.
Yeah, so, you know, I guess that depends who you ask. But what was I gonna say? It comes with more RAM. It comes with 16 gigs of RAM, which, if you've listened to me, I do not like the 10 gigs of RAM on a 3080. I think it's stupid to have a card of that power and limit its RAM so much. So yeah, that's pretty good. If I was given a choice between the two and only those two, I would probably still go with the 3080 myself, even though I think the AMD card is the better card. It uses less power, and in 1440p, it was actually outperforming 3080 more so than not. But I like the software on Nvidia. But now that it seems like AMD got its graphic cards down, they can start working on the software for the next launch. So, you know, maybe in time, switch over. The 6800 was just kind of like a baby version, or a light version of the 68 XT. Same amount of RAM. It's going to be slightly weaker. It looks like it's going to be actually maybe like 10% better than the 3070. I think that one's coming in at 575. So it's a little bit more than 3070, because 3070 is 500. So again, all these benchmarks are on, you know, AMD handpicked them, and so take it with a slight grain of salt. But that's generally where the range are going to be. And if that's true, I think it's a win for AMD, and not meaning like they're winning the generation. They have the best cards ever, but I mean, like, last time they were barely competing with the third level stuff. Like they were competing with the 2070. They weren't competing with the 2080, and they weren't competing with the 2080 Ti. So for them to be competing with the high end stuff, like the best graphics card, and undercut it by $500, like, to make it a no brainer that AMD is obviously the way you want to go for that. I saw someone arguing about it that and you know, I just learned the new slur for Nvidia fanboys. Apparently it's Nvidians. I thought that was pretty funny.
That is kind of funny, yeah.
But I saw one of the fanboys arguing that the 90 will still be better, and I actually do think it's still going to be better. But if you think about it, for the same price of the 90, you can get the 69 XT and a 5900X, the 12 core brand new Zen 3 CPU for the same price as a 3090, like that's like a fucking no-brainer to me. And then you pair them together, you get that stupid boost technology that they have, and I don't know. Nvidia, I think Nvidia's in trouble for pricing, but I think they know it too, because that's a good segue to my next story. So I don't know if we reported it here, because I really haven't been talking much tech stuff here, but apparently Nvidia had a 16 gig 3070 and a 20 gig 3080 planned, and those have been scrapped. And it looks like they're being replaced with two new SKUs that kind of are not just different variants with RAM, but actually different places in their lineup. So it looks like they're putting a card that's in between the 3070 and the 3080 that's going to have 10 gigs of GDR6X, their special fast RAM. And then there's going to be another card that's in between the 3090 and the 3080, which will have 12 gigs of RAM. And they don't have any prices on that because they're just working it up. As I said, like that's the AMD has that card that's a step down. So this would be the one that competes with their little step down, where it's not quite a 3070, but it's kind of like a 3080 Lite. And if it comes in at $600, which would be an ideal place for it, since it would be $500 for the 3070 and it's $700 for a 3080, I think that's a really good deal, because I ran the math on the cores, like how many less cores it has, because that one was announced first. So I like that one was announced like a week ago, or not announced, but leaked out a week ago. It was only like 11% weaker if you take into account that the cores don't scale. And that was me guessing high, like a 76%. Like you would get 76% of like of scaling, which that's kind of high. I think that's a great deal if that actually comes out. But I'm excited to see how Nvidia reacts in pricing. I think they have some work to do. They have a little bit of time to, they have a whole, well, actually they only have 3 weeks before the 6800 comes out, but it's going to get interesting. And whoever owns a graphics card, I would kind of say hold off for a little bit, unless you want certain features from a certain brand, because they're going to be going at it for a little while once availability actually starts. Because that's another thing too. If availability is like, if there's no cards available, people are just going to get what they can. So technically for a little while, I guess longer than what I'm saying, Nvidia wouldn't have to adjust the prices, because if there's no AMD cards, then your only choice would be to get Nvidia. But once they actually both have steady stock, then there probably is going to be a little war going on.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting because, as we've discussed previously, I think it was in the podcast with Kern, like AMD is sort of like the king of price for performance. And so Nvidia does have to try and do something to compete with that. And if they drop the prices, like you're saying, with these new SKUs, I could see that kind of, I don't want to say tipping the scale. Well, I guess it'd be like putting it back in their favor, because it's almost like Nvidia, like, these are the two companies, Nvidia's here, and then AMD announced this, and it's like the scales are almost balanced, But if Nvidia fixes their pricing, then, Nvidia's going to have the advantage, I guess, again. But it's good for the consumers, because competition breeds innovation, as I've stated before, and it's good because it gives you choices, provided that the availability is there. If you walk into a Micro Center and you want to get a 3080, but it's not in stock, or a 3090, whatever, what have you, 30 series card, it's not in stock, but the AMD almost equivalent card is there and it's cheaper. I mean, like you said, it almost seems like a no-brainer, especially if you're already rocking the AMD build, like if you have a Ryzen CPU like we do.
Yeah. Oh, unfortunately, it's only the new 5000s that come out.
Oh, okay.
Like, so you would have to upgrade your CPU to take advantage of that. But a lot of people are planning on doing that, because this this generation of Ryzen is supposed to just be the best CPU. Like, it's not like how we've had to say before, well, if you like want multi-threaded stuff, you get this. What if you want single threaded, you get that. This is just going to kick Intel's ass, like straight up. So I for those really hardcore that want the best of the best, the AMD is going to be the way to go. But for me, I don't plan on buying a 5,000 since I bought a 3,000. You know, and they skipped 4,000 for people who don't know. So I have a current gen CPU. I won't upgrade till the gen after this one. So then AMD comes a little bit more like, okay, now that I have a AMD CPU that supports this, an AMD GPU seems to be a little bit more enticing.
I will say this: I'm really digging Nvidia broadcast. You know, like I right now I have the blurred effect. I when we did our stream on YouTube for Watch Dogs, I used the green screen effect. Like I actually do have a green screen. Like I own a green screen. It's just kind of a bitch to set up. And so the fact that I could just turn on some fucking setting in the software and just be like, yeah, take out my background, like that's fucking pimp. Like it's super cool. And so like I'm really digging NVIDIA broadcast. I hope that AMD would do something similar. I mean, obviously it's not going to be called broadcast, but some sort of similar program would be amazing, because then it's like, well, there's not even really a reason to be on Nvidia at that point if AMD's performance is equal or better and the price is better and they have the same like software that to me is currently giving Nvidia the edge. Yeah.
I agree with you. I think that's what, that's one of the reasons I'm going to still get Nvidia, even though I want the AMD card, because I kind of want to support the underdog. It's the software they have, and then their encoding, like their encoder is better than AMD's. AMD really hasn't paid attention to that. So hopefully it's a process. You know, they've already said that their RDNA is going to process or mature the way Zen did, and Zen matured greatly because we're going to be on Zen 3 and it's going to be the best CPU out. So, and they already recognize that RDNA 2, like Lisa Su herself has said maybe like half a year ago, that RDNA 2 is not going to be when they win. They're actually predicting RDNA 3 is going to be when they win. So granted, it's coming from the CEO of the company, but she herself has already said, like, this is not our best. So who knows what's going to come next time when she's saying, not this one, but check out this one. You know, this one's going to be good. We're going to be competitive, but the next one is the one you want to look at. So that's what I'm kind of excited for. I'm kind of hoping that maybe this one is when they actually come competitive in, actual, like what a GPU does, frame rates and stuff. And then they can add on the extras once they got that down.
Yeah.
But it's exciting, and they've already, their little slide today showed that it's coming out before 2022. So probably be the end of 2021 when we'll see that one. There was a rumor that Nvidia moved Hopper, which is their next, which is probably going to be what they call the 4000. Well, Hopper is the next one. I don't know the numbering because they can change the number whenever they want, but I'm guessing it's going to be the 4000. And that was supposed to come out in 2022, and then we went up to 2021 to compete with AMD. That's kind of alarming to me because Ampere was rushed, and look, it runs hot because they're jamming a lot of power into it. AMD's running at like, I think 50 lower watts. I think theirs are running at 300 and Ampere's 350. So that means they have a lot of room to overclock. So when the AIB or partner cards come out, I'm really interested to see what those are going to look like. And Ampere was rushed, obviously. My point being, and I hope they don't make I hope Nvidia doesn't make the same mistake again, where they rush out of the next one. But they also are going into a new architecture where I can talk about this all the time. But they're going into something new where I think it's new terrain for them, so I can see them kind of like slowing down because it's new for terrain for them, but it's not new terrain for AMD because they're kind of doing what AMD did with Zen, just for GPUs. But AMD knows how to do it because they've done it with Zen. So that's where I'm interested to see where it goes.
It's a good time to be a PC gamer. Let's just say that
It's a good time to be a gamer, dude. Like,
well, I was just talking specifically about our graphics cards, but yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
guess the new consoles are gonna be good too, and blah blah blah. But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's just good. Competition's good, and the performance is getting amazing, and all this technological advancement. It's a great time to be alive, I guess.
yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what comes even just this generation. Even though the cards are pretty much out, just how they're gonna go at each other and how they're gonna, because AMD is gonna go for the throat. If they have the upper edge, they're gonna try to smear Nvidia, and I think that's cool. It looks like from their own benchmarks, they make it look like their 3080 competitor is better at 1440p, which more people game at 1440p than 4K. So that would be the better 1440p card, and yet they underpriced it. Priced it under the. So why would you buy the card that's not as good for more, unless you want
Right.
the RTX features? But you know, for people who don't stream, don't content create, don't care about that kind of stuff, then there's no reason to go into video. In my based on what's being shown, you know, wait for benchmarks. I'll always say that, but
Yeah.
it looks really cool.
Yeah. We'll see where it goes.
Oh, I guess one more thing that I did miss earlier. So you probably it probably won't matter by the time this thing comes out, but Igor's lab is saying that an AIB who wants to stay anonymous is saying that they're getting 10 times the amount of 3070s that they did 3080s. So it looks like if you get on at launch time, you'll probably be able to get one. But beyond that, probably not.
No more scalpers. Well, there'll probably
Oh no,
still
there'll be
always be
scalpers.
scalpers, but less scalpers maybe.
It
We'll
won't
see.
be notify out of stock.
Right.
It'll be like, okay, it lasts for 10 minutes, then out of stock. And I think that's it for me, unless you got something else.
No, I think we're pretty good here. So, yep.
Alrighty, well, I've been Daniel.
And I've been Matthew, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Yep, latest.
Peace.